Hi, I'm Delusion Dispeller, and some people have called me a narcissist recently and over the years. As you've probably seen from my recent video, I've been accused of narcissism or being a narcissist, and as I've said many times, I do not fit the criteria. I'm sorry, if you want to label me something, you will have to pick a different label, like histrionic or something like that, that fits my personality and my actions and behaviors. I'm not a narcissist. I have too much empathy to be a narcissist. I am not into being showy and flamboyant and stuff like that. I do not put other people beneath me. I don't do the things narcissists do. But I will share something with you that's kind of interesting that I found. Some people said, well, Dee Dee, you're making these videos about people claiming that they have narcissistic traits. Well, you can't tell that from looking at a video. You can't tell that from looking at a photo. So let's talk about that. Can you tell if somebody's a narcissist by looking at a video or a photo? Specifically a photo in this case. Now, first of all, I'm not monetizing this video because I'm actually excerpting this information I'm about to share with you from an article that I read in, hang on a second, in an actual online type magazine called The Telegraph. It's from the UK. But the UK has a lot of good, useful information. They're very intelligent people, so I think it'd be a great article to talk about. And there's probably some local articles as well that I haven't uncovered yet that would discuss this same topic. But for now, we're going to go with this article that I found and talk about, can you tell if somebody is a narcissist by looking at a photo? Well, guess what, everyone? You can actually, just by looking at a picture of them, depict narcissistic traits in them. Or not depict, I'm sorry, detect is the word I was looking for. So, Roger Dobson, this was on July 9th, 2008, and it was at 3:45 p.m. So they've known this for a while. I want to suggest that there's evidence based on this University of Texas study that, as Roger Dobson was saying, in which people were asked to have 3 people rate their personality, 3 people that knew them, rate their personality and have full-length photos taken, go through a battery of different psychological tests regarding personality disorders and such, I imagine. The panel of people then viewed these photos that were taken and guessed the personality types of the people in the photos. Next, researchers compared the answers from the panel who viewed the photos with the people, the 3 people that each person chose to actually rate them, the people that knew them. And it was amazing because both of the people that knew them, as well as the panel that viewed them, could detect narcissistic traits in these people. They could spot the narcissists out of the bunch with very high accuracy. Dr. Peter Renfro stated, "We found that narcissism does have a distinct physical signature and can be detected from physical appearance alone." He is a psychologist at the University of Cambridge and one of the team that carried out this study I'm talking to you about. Dr. Renfro further states that narcissists tend to be quite charming initially, but once you get into the relationship, you realize that your attempts to do something other than what the narcissist wants are foiled. The condition comes from the Greek myth of Narcissus. He was a very handsome young man who was rejecting one of the nymphs that was trying to woo him, apparently. And the nymph punished him by making him fall in love with his own reflection in water. Now, actually, in some stories, it says that he fell into the water and drowned. Other stories just say that he was left the rest of his life staring longingly into this body of water. So it depends which version you look at. But nonetheless, it was a man that was doomed by this nymph that he did not, which actually the nymph to me would be the narcissist, not Narcissus. but whatever. I didn't write the Greek mythology. It's just what it says in there. And it's a made-up story. But the reason why narcissism got its name was from that story. And whether you know it or not, personality disorders are just a bunch of familiar traits that are seen over and over repetitively in certain people. And then a group of professionals gets together in a room around a table and they talk about, hey, have you seen this trait? Have you seen that trait? And when the trait keeps appearing in a person, then they give it a name. That is how, literally, how personality disorders are diagnosed, and maybe other disorders as well. I'm not sure. I'm not in the, hobnobbing with elbows with and eating bagels with the higher ups in the psych field. So I don't know exactly how that all goes, but I do know that that is how personality disorders get their names. Simply by people agreeing that they've seen the behavior over and over, and they give it a name. Alright, so this particular one, narcissism, is based on that story of Narcissus. The actual personality disorder is called narcissistic personality disorder. And it's diagnosed when a person has 5 out of 9 specific traits of narcissism. But they have to be pervasive in that person's life. In other words, at their job, the way they raise their children, the way they live their life, the way they perceive things. That's what they mean by pervasive. So you can lack empathy at one moment, and that doesn't make you a narcissist. But if you constantly lack empathy, if you constantly have no regard for other people, for animals, for situations, and it's pervasive, it's overall, that's how you live your life, then that could be a trait of narcissism. But you have to have 5 out of the 9 in order to be diagnosed with it as a personality disorder, which is why I tell people, I do not have the disorder. I have been tested for disorders. I do not have narcissistic personality disorder. Do I act narcissistic sometimes? I think everybody does to an extent. So I'm sure sometimes I seem like, my stuff doesn't stink and everybody else's does. We get like that. People, especially when you're on a YouTube channel and you're making videos and people are watching you and commenting on you, it's very easy to get a bit heady, as they say. So you have to reel yourself back in and realize you're just as human as the next person. And I try my best to do that. I'm also histrionic, so that means I'm kind of showy in a different sense. I like the camera. I enjoy being on camera. I'm interested. I like myself. I've said that before. I'm fascinated with myself. I find myself very funny and goofy and enjoyable to be in this body. And I think everybody should like themselves, because you have to live with yourself and die with yourself and go to sleep with yourself at night. You should like yourself. But being histrionic, it's just a little easier for me to be comfortable in my own skin. So I've never denied that I'm histrionic. That's definitely the case with me. That is definitely a personality trait of my father and myself. That is very off-putting to people that are not comfortable with themselves. That's why they label us narcissistic. Because we're just sure of ourselves and we can just act off the cuff and not care about the consequences. We're very much risk takers. Alright, enough about that. So, some of the reasons why the people that observed these photos of these people in the test, why they said they were narcissistic, is because they were neat and organized in their appearance. They had stylish clothing on, expensive usually type of clothing, cheerful demeanors, showing cleavage in women is a big one to depict narcissism, plucked eyebrows, having their makeup just so. Men were displaying muscles and not wearing eyeglasses. None of them had eyeglasses on. I guess when you wear eyeglasses, that proves that you're not narcissistic, according to the people that were doing this study. So I guess if you are accused of narcissism, go get yourself some eyeglasses. People's narcissistic tendencies were evidenced in what they wore and their overall appearance, but also their willingness to show off their bodies. Women showing off their chests, maybe their booties, men flexing their muscles and stuff like that. That was another reason why people felt or if people feel that people have narcissistic characteristics. Okay, Dr. Renfro further said, for those who must interact with narcissists, they face a host of unpleasant and maladaptive behaviors, such as self-deception, even in the face of disconfirming evidence, anger, hostility, and aggression in the face of threat to their ego, and self-enhancement and self-serving attributions. Perhaps the ability to judge narcissism quickly and accurately is in the service of avoiding such potentially unpleasant interactions. Basically, what Renfro seems to be saying here is that if you hook up with a narcissist, you're going to feel like you're agreeing with them even if you don't agree with them. You're believing what they say about you even though there's no proof that you are what they say about you, which is a big reason why when people accuse me of narcissism, I look at that and I say, am I a narcissist? Well, here are the traits of narcissism. I don't fit them. So no, I'm not. I have never been diagnosed with as a narcissist by any psychotherapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, and I've been examined by many because of my own PTSD symptoms after being abused by a narcissist years ago. I don't have narcissism, and it's not real common anyway for two narcissists to get along. There can't be two captains of a ship. So the fact that I was discarded shows you right there that I was not the narcissist. I didn't discard myself. I was merely trying to have a partnership with a minister so we could go and be missionaries in a country, and we didn't click because I was not into the riches and the fancy chocolates, and I did not care about having a hair out of place or my makeup not on, and she did. So most of the people that actually got up close and personal with her would tell you there were evidences of narcissistic behaviors. And plus, she was raised in such a way that she was a ready-made narcissist. Unfortunately for her, that's sometimes how it goes. Anyhow, so yes, you can determine if somebody is narcissistic by looking at their photo based on this UK study that I found. I hope you found this interesting and helpful. I'm here to answer any questions that you have. I can't guarantee I always have the answers, but this was very interesting to me because now I can say, woohoo, proof. They have done a study, and yes, you can look at a picture or most likely a video and tell if somebody is narcissistic. Now, you can't tell if they have the disorder unless you are a professional psychiatrist, psychologist, somebody that does that on a regular basis, because you do need to know the person and have rapport with them to establish that fact, which is why generally if I say I see narcissism in somebody, I say it's a trait, or I say it's a characteristic, or they act narcissistically, or something like that. And if I've ever slipped up and said, oh, they're a narcissist, that's a slip up. I don't know. If I don't live with somebody and I don't have a degree that can, accurately tell me this is what they have, then I can't accurately say that. But I can look at traits of people and say, they seem narcissistic. Or like Sam Vaknin, he will tell you he's a narcissist. He's been diagnosed as one. So if I say Sam Vaknin is a narcissist, I'm telling you the fact and the truth. He is one. But I'm telling you the fact and the truth of me that I am not one. So if you can disprove that, I challenge you. Go right ahead and disprove that I'm a narcissist. I would love to hear how I lack empathy, how I target people, how I put people beneath me, how I bait and switch, or power posture, or what are some of the other ones? Double bind people. I don't do any of that stuff. It's not pervasive in my life. So sorry, those of you that want to label me as a narcissist and say that I'm a hypocrite and all that stuff, you're going to have to prove by traits, things that you've seen in me that prove me a narcissist. And you also would have to know me in person, because all you're seeing is me on a video. Although I'm very much the same person online and off. You still would have to know me, and you also would have to be a professional. So you can't diagnose me, but you can say if you see narcissism in me, I guarantee you what you're seeing is probably histrionic personality, not narcissism. So there you go. that is the information I uncovered, accurately telling you that yes, you can determine narcissistic traits by looking at a picture, by watching a video, and definitely by living with a person. Eyes wide open, moving forward. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.